All right, welcome. We're back for another installment. Decision Games War in Europe, 1999 edition, using the updated rules or errata rules up to 2004. And we are going to do scenario 2. I've already finished scenario 1 with Poland in my previous videos, using that as a learning scenario. Now we're moving on to the France40 scenario, which also is going to be a learning scenario. I'm not going to focus on winning strategies, although I'll try and identify them, but I'm also going to do stuff that exercises the rules and maybe not the best decision in play. But I did, like I said, go back and create the Vassal mod from scratch. Previous mod I was using was kind of getting erratic. I was combining it with an older mod. I had the old version in it too. Maybe it got too big. But went ahead and stitched together, actually, all the maps. I had my local office place do scans, and it's not perfect, but hey, it's good enough to fight World War II. So now we've got the whole map available. I'll put Spain on later. That's going to be actually over here. I'll add that in when I need it, but like I said, right now we're playing the France scenario. So really only need to focus here. I need to put the French-Italian border units here, but I'm not playing with the Italians here. I'm going to keep it just the scenario. So make that go away here. Where is it? Overview map. There. So here's the setup per the rules, for the scenario we have over here. Kind of see the British Expeditionary Force here. And for some reason they got one unit down here, which is kind of strange. We do see the Ardennes here, initially protected by the Belgians, not very strong, so that may be a likely avenue. Here's the rest of Belgium, I think Brussels, I think the fortress right here, Eben and now, however you pronounce it. And then we do have the Netherlands units, along with French units. So I'm going to start this one. It's going to add some more rules too. If we come over here, it does say 22 game turns. Depends on how you play it. There's some special rules here. We're only on map section C. Now, Axis player is the first one. Here we see the deployment. But the important thing here is, well, they got 28 air points. But unlike the Poland scenario now they've got 3 air transport points. And they've got 3 Fallschirmjäger regiments that we're going to use. Let me see if I've got those. Pull that over here. Yeah, here's their 28 air units. Here's the 3 air transport points. And here are the airborne units. They can be on the border here, ready to drop, and I'm putting them here. So these are the 3 airborne regiments ready to drop, and I think just to exercise the rules, I will drop them on Eben and Namal, however you pronounce that again. It looks like the initial attack, though, for the ground units will be across a river. So the airborne units will be halved, and these ground units will be halved. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Let's see, it's clear weather. So let me pull up the charts here. Let me check the CRT. I'm curious which one the Germans are on. So we've got 1940. Oh yeah, they're on number 1. Yeah, last game we played, they were down here on table 2 for the Polish conquest, but now they've got some experience. Actually, they got Scandinavia under their belt. In theory, Denmark, Norway. So here we are. We're on the top table for the Germans. So, well, you still got to get high up. 6-1, you're still getting potentially a both retreat on a 1. But that's a bit higher now, 6-7-1. So they can operate there. I wonder where the Allies are. Western Allies. Moving down here. Oh, that's not good. Oh, the Western Allies are way down on the bottom table. Oh, wait, 1940, yeah, still here. I mean, they don't actually get the Western Allies don't get to the top table until 44 to 45. Let's see, 43, clear weather, they're on table 2. Winter weather, they're on table 3. And then I'm just curious, 42, clear weather, they're table 3. Winter weather, they're 4. It looks the same. 41, it looks the same too. So the Germans, though, are right here. And it looks like 40, 41, and 42. That's the German best time. They're always on the top table here. And then 43, they dropped to table 2. 44 and 45, they dropped to table 3. Interesting. Okay, well, that's a big advantage here. Germans are on table 1. Western Allies are on table 4. Okay. So let's pull these guys off. Yeah, and I've also indicated here we're going to have replacements. I'm using these train markers to record how many points they have each turn. We can see that here in a second. No naval transport for the Axis, makes sense. No amphibious assault. Air points are 28, air transport are 3 airborne units, and they can rail 20 units per turn. Since this is a scenario, most of the units are already on the front, so I don't know how much they'll be using it. They do have 2 railroad repair units, which we'll start using as it goes by here. And yeah, and then that explains the German setup here. The Commonwealth and French, see the setup here. Now this is new, naval transport points. They have 15 per turn. But we're going to see the Brits are going to get reinforcements, and they set up over here, so they'll probably be using it to transfer more of the BEF over. So they got 15, they got no amphib. They've got 10 air points total compared to the German 28. We'll see how that plays out. And they got a 10 rail capacity. And we'll see, no railroad repair units. Now here's the interesting thing with this scenario. You can play the historical option, where basically the Allies do the not wise moves they did before, where they all basically move up to the, I forgot what river, but the plan was to move into Belgium as far forward as possible. They expected the same attack as in World War I, the hook coming down through Belgium around and hooking to Paris, which actually was Hitler's original plan until a Storch plane, which flew inadvertently over French lines, got shot down, and an officer on that plane was carrying the plans detailing this. So then he went with, I think at the time, yeah, it was General Manstein's plan to come through the Ardennes, which the French didn't believe could be possible. So that's potentially what we're going to do. So if we're playing the historical game, there's a number of special rules. The German player has an extra pre-game move. Allied zones of control don't extend across the border. The cost for German units to enter or leave an enemy zone of control is reduced to 1. And the move applies to cost to overrun also. I think that's a free move there. They can't force march. And then the Allied forced move, all Allied units to the north and west of Hexrow 3010. I don't know what you mean, north and west of 3010. Right here. Okay. West. Oh, wow. That's going back this way. All these units are going to go rushing right into Belgium to do it that way, towards the German-Belgian border. And they're moving this sequence. Commonwealth. And then French. German zones of control do not extend across borders during the forced move. Following units are not subject. They're actually frozen in place. There's 3 units here. I think it's this 810 and a 3-4 and a 3-6. I'll look them up later. They're probably back here. But everybody else, 0310, are just going right into Belgium. So we'll see how that plays out. And if you play the history, well, we'll see the victory conditions in a second. And then game turn 1, After the completion of the pre-game turn, the German player begins game turn 1, and this looks like this isn't tied to the historical game. So the pre-game turn, German player begins turn 1, following special rules in effect. The cost to enter and leave enemy zones of control is reduced to 1. The cost to overrun is reduced to 1. Cost for Allied units to enter hex containing a German area interdiction is increased to 4. Allied units may not force march or use rail movement. Again, this is turn 1. First turn of the Axis attack on France whenever that occurs in war in Europe, so long as the Allied player agrees. Okay. On this turn, the French infantry the French 3-4s can turn into their fortified. No more than one Commonwealth unit may voluntarily end a movement phase more than 4 hexes from a coastal X. So the Brits have to hug the coast, except for one unit here. With the exception of any one Commonwealth unit that is not bound. If a Vichy government is declared, that doesn't apply anymore. Well, in this game, that's the victory conditions if Vichy gets declared. So they do have their one unit down here. And that does take us to now, I'm not playing the campaign here. I think I skipped over the victory. Yep. The Axis player wins in the historical game by establishing a Vichy government in France by the end of game turn 7. I may play that just because that's 7 turns, because if we have just free turn, not this historical stuff, then it would be playing the game until turn 22. So I'm still thinking about that. And if we go to Vichy, or how does France, France Third Republic, in Vichy, France, yeah, I know that. At the beginning of any Allied player turn that finds Paris occupied by a supplied Axis ground combat unit, the Allied player must roll the die to determine if Vichy is established. And in our scenario, that means the Germans have won. He modifies the die roll by adding 1 for every 3 full-strength Commonwealth divisions still present in France. Okay. And if it's a 1 through 5, Vichy is established, and in our case, the historical game, then that's a German victory. So, if we're doing a historical game, they've got 7 turns to take Paris. That's what it boils down to. I think that's it. Now, if this was, if we weren't playing that, then we'd have 22 turns if we weren't following the historical rules, which apparently gives the Germans an advantage. Because the French are stuck putting all their units here, the French and the Brits. And then that would be a 22-turn game. Again, for the Germans to take Paris and roll the die. I would imagine if they take Paris, every turn after that a German ground supply unit is there. They keep rolling, and the Germans are going to go around and try and get rid of the Commonwealth divisions. But that's the goal. Paris is the goal. So I think that's the setup. Yeah, I think we're good. That's what the play is going to be. So this is going to be interesting. I shudder to think what it will be like to play this on a physical map with these massive counter stacks, but, well, not massive, but still pretty dense here. But luckily, with the magic of Vassal, this is going to make it potentially playable. So, anyway, there's the setup, and it's time for the fall of France. I need to go find a book on tape to listen to at the same time I'm playing this. And I'm going to think about it, but I'm leaning towards doing the historical game just because it makes it 7 turns. And again, I'm probably going to be historical, drop the para on Ebenal and try and do an attack here. Going to have to figure out how this turn works. German pregame turn, Allied forced march. Okay, I think the Germans only get a pregame turn. And then we go into the first turn. Do they get back-to-back turns? Germans may get back-to-back turns. If I'm going to check this, but the way I read it, the Allies don't get a pregame turn. They just have a rule saying all their... And let's see, they all got to do this move. I guess on the first turn. And then after the pre-game turn, the German player begins turn 1. So that it looks like the Germans get back to back. It's probably why they're down to just 7 turns. You can do a lot of damage. And even after that German attack like that, then the Allies move and the bulk of their forces are moving into Belgium. So that is setting up for the sickle cut potentially, and trapping them at Dover. At Dunkirk. And this is well within range of emergency naval transport. It's 4 hexes, so I can see that here. So I think I'll play that just to see historically. For the air power, I'm just gonna, there's some brinksmanship here. That's the one where you can't. It's kind of hard to play solo. I think I'm just gonna put all the Allies air up and put all the German air up for the first turn and have a round of air superiority there. See how that goes. Probably not the best way to play the scenario, but again, this is to exercise some more rules, and this game is going to include a few more rules here too. So anyway, that's that. So looking forward to that first turn. Hopefully in the next, next recording will be the German pre-game turn. So I'm going to look at that. It looks like they can cross the border and attack, because even though Zoc doesn't extend across border, so they don't have to pay for that, they do give rules about Zoc is reduced to 1, so they can cross the border during the pre-game turn and get that in. And then they'll go again on game turn 1 with the reduced costs here. We'll see how that goes. Yeah, it's the same. We got reduced to 1 for movement and 1 for overrun. So the pre-game turn and the first turn, those rules apply to the Germans, which I guess is simulating the French unpreparedness, which, based on some other books I read, it was crazy. They didn't even have radios to send commands. They had to do runners. They were just not able to react, and the Germans were moving too fast. So anyway, I'll stop it here. So thanks for listening, and we will see you next turn for the German pregame turn.